Hi, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are looking at the Fender Vintera II Bass 6. Now, previously I had reviewed the Squier Bass 6. I will link the video here, and I go in depth into the history of the instrument and a bunch of players and the like. So check that out there. I won't go into the history here because I've already done that. But the Squier was a pretty decent instrument. The biggest problem that it had, unfortunately, was that there wasn't enough room on the bridge to intonate it properly. It is very narrow, and you weren't able to get the saddles adjusted properly. I tried a few different things. I went with a heavier gauge string, which helped quite a bit. But all in all, it just seemed to be a little bit too much trouble to try to get an instrument to play in tune, which, is kind of important. So I ended up trading that instrument in, and I grabbed a Ibanez 6-string bass for a bit. I had trouble with that, intonating it, and I just swore off it for a while. So imagine my surprise when a few weeks ago I saw that Fender was releasing their Vintera II series, and adding a bunch of instruments, and one of the instruments that they were adding was the Bass 6. Now, my attention was turned immediately to, did they fix the issue with the bridge? Is this worth even looking at? Well, my friends, if you can see, they fixed it. This bridge here has much more intonation available on it than the Squier version. This has more intonation than I think any other previous Bass 6 bridge did have. I've seen a Nash Bass 6, and the bridge looks much like the Squier. So, hey, Fender was listening to people like myself and others who said, hey, we love the instrument, but we want to play it in tune. So yeah, so let's go over the specs a little bit on this. So I'm talking about the bridge. So obviously this bridge here is superior to the stock. So that kind of sets it off a little different. The idea of the Vintera series is to make a bass or an instrument that is similar to what would have been available at the time period it was released, and they do a few tweaks. So the tweak they did this one is the bridge. So this essentially is the equivalent of like a 62, 63 Bass 6. And by that I mean, when it comes down to what the instrument is made of, is an alder body, and it has a maple neck with a slab rosewood fretboard. I believe, I got to research it, 62, 63 I think might have been the last year of the slab fretboard. So there you go. Pretty faithful overall to an early 60s. Now, where it differs from the Squier, also, not only does it have the larger bridge with more adjustability, it also has the locking mechanism on the tremolo, or vibrato, or whatever the proper term is. Vibrato, I believe, is what it should be. So this little slider right here, this allows the whole thing to float completely, and this here locks it. So it it keeps it in tune a little bit better. On the Squier one, you can take the bar and bend and do whatever on it, and you're going to go flat. So you're going to go out of tune. Here, this helps it stay in tune a little bit better. So rounding out a few other things, it has the vintage style tuning machines, and keeping true to the early 60s style Fenders, it has the truss mod adjustment at the heel, and it is the traditional style with the X, which you can adjust with. Actually, a flat blade screwdriver works better than a Phillips. It looks like a giant Phillips. But in order to adjust it, you have to take the neck off, which, yay. You know, Fender Music Man puts out their classic, and they have the adjustment wheel on it, and no one's complaining about the lack of authenticity there. You could have made it a little easier to adjust the neck, but what can you do? Electronics, there's a master volume and a master tone, on-off switches for each pickup, and a bass choke. So in the down position, you get the normal sound. You pop it up, and it rolls off the low end, which helps. You can get a little more of a guitar sound to it. It takes off the low end. With bass strings, chords don't sound as well because of the extra overtones and the like, and it's really muddy, so that helps get a more guitar sound to it. The instrument comes with standard Fender Bass VI strings, which have a 95 E string. I prefer the 100. And Fender released that set about a year or so ago, and a lot of people using that on their Squiers to try to make up for the intonation. So I had a unused set of the 100s, and so I threw those on. I'm a bass player. I'm going to try to use this more from a bass type situation. So I went with the thicker strings. Now, 30-inch scale, so it is longer than a guitar, longer than a baritone. Baritones are typically around 27 and a half inches, and it's shorter than a standard scale bass, but the same scale as a short scale bass. So it really kind of splits the difference between guitar and bass. A guitar player is going to feel very much at home. Everything's right where you expect it to be. The string spacing's a little bit tighter. Some bass players will say that, oh, you can't play it fingerstyle, which always kind of struck me. I mean, you ever see someone finger pick a guitar? I mean, you can do that. You can do it on the bass. My first memory of a Bass 6 is watching a video of Cream playing Strange Brew, and Jack Bruce is playing his full-painted early original model, I think 61, I think it was, Bass 6, and he's playing it fingerstyle, so hey, why not? Obviously works well with a pick as well. I used this with a trio that I played with. It's a pretty low-key gig, so it's good gig to experiment on, but I already kind of knew what I was doing. But we had a conga player, acoustic guitar, and so I brought the Bass 6, played out bass lines on it, and then did some melodies, and it worked out nicely. Coming from bass, I'm still getting tripped up on the guitar tuning, where you have the B here instead of where thinking bass-wise it'd be a C. So there's your octave, from up here. Gotta get my brain around that. So I'll play it. The more I play it, the better I'll get at it. But I love it. I think it's a great deal. Actually, we'll hold on to the great deal at first. I think it's a great instrument. Let's get down to the deal side of things. The Squier goes for $479, $499, something like that. This here, I believe, is $1349, or it could be $1399. I forget exactly, but pushing $1,400. You could buy 3 Squiers, for the price of 1 Fender. Now, of course, you're not getting the woods. The woods are different. That could be neither here nor there, depending on how you feel about things. The biggest difference is the ability to play it in tune. Is it worth almost $1,000 more to, is it worth $900 to you to play the instrument in tune? Probably not. But hey, that being said, I'm very happy. Fender can be hit and miss with some of the quality. This one is great shape, good fit and finish. Some staticky issues occasionally, so I haven't shielded it. You probably could use shielding, but otherwise it's a pretty well put together instrument. when I went to the heavier gauge, I was nervous that I may have to adjust the truss rod, and it is not that big a deal. I know that's not the best way to do it. You need to use feeler gauges, but it looks pretty decent. I did have to adjust the string height a little bit individually to compensate for the radius and when I put on the different strings, and obviously adjusted the intonation, but it plays in tune. So enough talking, let's demo some of the sounds. All right, so here we go. Again, we have on-off switches for each pickup, a bass choke, master volume, master tone. Tone and volume are up all the way. We will do the neck pickup first with the bass choke off. Fingerstyle, now pick. Middle pickup, fingerstyle. Pick. And the bridge. Pick. Now, one of my favorite settings is middle and neck pickup together. And here's bridge and middle. All right, so tuned like a guitar, whole octave down, E, A, D, G, B, E. I'm still, because I'm coming from bass and play a little guitar, I get screwed up by the B string still. But you know, a little practice and I'll get back with it fine. Really, the thing you got to remember is if you want to do an octave or a fifth, say you're on the G string and you want to do a fifth, instead of down 2 over 1, it's down 3 over 1. So, yeah, you adapt and you get used to it and you think. But I'm going to show you now. So as I said, I have the heavier gauge strings on here. And, you know, when you play the chords, open chords, cowboy chords, it can be a little tricky with the bass. The low strings have the overtones, and they get kind of really muddy and sound icky. So I have it in bridge position with the bass choke off. Let's play an open D. We'll throw the fourth in there for fun, huh? Wow, huh? That sounds nice, big and full. Well, let's try the open E. Not the worst, but a little bit muddy and down there. Open A. Now I'm going to put the choke on, and let's do that open D again. Cuts that bottom end out, so before you may have noticed that you really felt the bass on the bottom of the D. It sounded really cool. Here, you don't hear the bottom as much. Here, the open E. A little better, and then the open A. Oh well. Let's try that again. Now, for me, I think that you're better off playing the chords up on the top 4 strings. They ring out a little better. Keep your bass down here. And play your chords up here. We'll pick the choke off. Yeah, so whatever, you can fool around a little bit with it. And last thing, let's pop this bar back in and all right, so there you go. Fender Bass VI, Vintera II series. So yeah, I gotta say, Fender, good job. If you listen to people like me who said, hey, we want to play it in tune, The price, like I said, you're paying quite a premium. I mean, it's an investment, and you may not want to pay that much for an instrument like this, and especially seeing that some people may not find it as useful. But hey, whatever. Like I said, I'm a big fan of it. It comes in two colors. This is Lake Placid Blue. Fiesta Red is the other color. I'm pretty psyched and happy about the instrument. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I'd be interested to hear, and feel free to check out my other videos. I have a playlist of reviews. I got a bunch of live videos of my bands performing, playing some of the gear that I've reviewed. And subscribe, and check out that other Squier video. I'll have that posted up here as well, and rock on.